when does it become a problem? In my view, if we start to get movements in bond yields materially above 4.5%, so let's say in the 460, 465 area, that's when I think there can be a problem in terms of how it might start to negatively impact equities. But one of the things that we thought going into the election was that if Donald Trump got elected, that the 10-year Treasury would probably go up and touch 4.5%. But would it stay there? And our view was that it would not, because it's still very, very likely that the Fed is going to cut interest rates. I still think they cut rates down to 4%, maybe a little lower. I'm higher than most people. Most people think that the Fed is cutting down to 3.5%, 3.25%. In September, the Fed told us they're going to 3%. I think all of that is going to get revised. So essentially, what becomes very important is the inflation dynamics in the U.S. That's going to deal with that's going to have to do with fiscal policy, potentially deficit expansionary policies under President Trump, but that's not yet clear at the moment. So at this stage, I would say 4.5%, 440. This is kind of normal in what's expected upon a Trump win.
Jim, here's the thing, though. I mean, the House has pretty much been called. The Republicans look like they're going to retain their majority rights, so that means a red sweep. And that means pretty much all of Trump's fiscal plans. He can essentially do what he wants, and we're not even talking about tariffs yet, which is just by himself executive order, right?
Well, yes, it is true. However, the win potentially in the House of Representatives is a very, very narrow win. So it's not like he's coming in like it was back in 2016, where he had a really significant majority in both the Senate and also in the House of Representatives. I still think it's very, very close. So I think he falls short of a mandate. The other thing that I think is so absolutely important is that the deficit to GDP when Trump took office back in 2016 was around 3% deficit to GDP. Today, it's around 6.5% deficit. These are two materially different numbers at this point. So just coming in and saying, I'm going to cut taxes and I'm going to do all this spending, I think we have to also then look to how is he going to pay for that? So if there's spending in one area, then there has to be reductions in spending, so therefore cuts in other areas. And I think that's just going to be true in the United States for many years going forward, because the deficit is just too large and it's unsustainable at these levels.